Hi students, this is Ms. Johnson, and today we are going to review Chapter 8. You should all have a piece of paper passed out to you. It is a handwritten template that we are going to fill out today. Up on top in the right-hand corner, go ahead and put your name, and of course your hour. And across the top, let's write down these things that are also going to be on your test. On your test, you are going to need to evaluate equations, or I should say expressions. You're going to need to combine like terms. You will need to be able to distribute. You will need to factor, going backwards to parentheses. And then the four things that we're going to look at today, working with slope and y-intercept, and linear and proportional. So go ahead and write those things across the top of your Chapter 8 review notes template. Alright, so this is what your template looks like, and you should have evaluate, combine like terms, distribute, factor. Those things should be right up here on the top. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at things that are linear, proportional, how to find the slope, and how to find the y-intercept when you are looking at tables, when you're looking at graphs, or when you're looking at equations and rules. Alright, I'm going to take you through step by step, and we're going to first of all look at the table. And I just am only looking at this part just to make it bigger on the screen here. Alright, with this table here, we have a table of values. The x's go 0, 1, 2, 3, and the y's go 0, 7, 14, and 21. And we need to figure out when things are linear. Well, things are linear when the y values go up or down. Hold on, let me make this a little bit big. Alright, here we go. Now you can actually read what I'm typing. So we know a table is linear if the y values go up or down by a constant amount. That's what linear means, that constant amount. So if we take a look at our table, we need to look if our y values look at our y values and see what's going on. So as we take a look, our y values go from 0 to 7. Well, that's going by 7. Then we go 7 to 14. That's going by 7. And then 14 to 21, that's going by 7. So as we are going along, this table is going up by 7, so this table is linear. So let's add that in here. This table is linear. Alright, an example of something that would not be linear is if we went 7, and then 6, and then 10, and the numbers just were not going up by that constant amount. Alright, moving on, proportional. Tables are proportional. Alright, tables are proportional when like we talked about the other day, when x equals 0, we want to know if y equals 0. If x equals 0 and y equals 0, then our table is proportional. So if we take a look at our table, we look when x equals 0, y is also 0, so guess what? Our table is proportional. If this was 0 and this was any other number but 0, it would not be proportional. So the table is proportional. Alright, moving along, how do we find the slope? Well, the slope in a table is we need to find out what that constant amount. Okay, so it's what the constant amount goes by. And as we take a look, to find our constant amount, remember we are going to find the slope by doing rise over run. So it's going to be rise divided by run. So, as we take a look, in our table, our y's are going up by 7. So let me add that in here. This is our y's that we are going by, and we are going by 7. There we go. Now it fits a little bit better. So with our rise, talking about our y's, we are going up by 7, and then our run deals with our x's, and our x's are going up by 1. 1 and 1. So our run is 1. So as we take a look, our run is our x's. And that's going by 1. And so as we do rise divided by run, our rise divided by run, 7 divided by 1 is 7. So our slope is 7. Excellent. All right. Lastly, when we're looking at a table, we want to find the y-intercept. The y-intercept is whatever the y value is when x equals 0. Okay, it's the y value when x equals 0. And the nice thing is that this table is proportional. So when x equals 0, y also equals 0. So our y-intercept is 0. Fantastic. All right, so now you know how to work with a table, how to tell if a table is linear, how to tell if it's proportional, how to tell what the slope is, and how to tell the intercept is 0. All right, let's move on to the graph. All right, with our graph, let's take a look at our graph. And I've got some points on here. I've got my numbers and all that stuff, so that's good. And we know if a graph is linear when it makes a straight line. And obviously, taking a look at this graph, I already have the line drawn. So we know that the graph is linear. If it goes up and down or curves at all, then it would not be linear. All right, graphs being proportional. Graphs are proportional when they start or go through 0, 0. Okay. So as we take a look at our graph here, let me get my pen. As we take a look at our graph, 0, 0 is right here. Does our graph start or go through 0, 0? No, it doesn't. So this means that our graph is not proportional. All right, moving on along. How do we find the slope? Well, the slope when we are working with the graph, as we know, very similar to the table, is we need to have the rise divided by the run. And there we go, rise divided by run. Now in order to find these numbers, we need to take 2 dots on our graph, and we'll just take these 2 dots. And remember, we need to go straight across and straight up and down, and we need to turn them into a triangle or a staircase. All right, and our rise goes up and down. That's how much we are rising. And as we take a look, this goes from 15 and it rises up to 25. In order to go from 15 to 25, we have to go up by, yes, 10. Okay, so our rise is 10. Our run looks like we start at 1 for our x's, and then we run over to 2. Well, that means we're just running 1. So our rise divided by our run is 10 divided by 1. And we know that is obviously 10. Excellent. So if our slope is 10, now we need to think, is it positive or negative? Well, it's positive if we have a graph that is going from left to right going up. It is negative if we have a graph going left to right going down. Okay, so this one is positive because it's going up left to right just like we read a book, and if it looks like this, it's negative. In this particular graph that we have, it is going up left to right, so we're going to have a positive 10. All right, moving on, our y-intercept. How do we find the y-intercept when we're looking at a graph? Well, we find the y-intercept just like it says, where the graph crosses or intercepts the y-axis. So as we take a look at our graph is here. It is coming down towards our y-axis. Our y-axis goes up and down. It crosses that y-axis right here at 5. So our y-intercept, if I go ahead and let's get something fun. Let's go this. Here, whoo, that's big. That's our y-intercept. So our y-intercept is when x, y-intercept is at 5. All right, there's our information by looking at a graph. Let's move on to the last one, working with equations and rules. All right, down at the bottom, equations and rules. If we have the equation y equals 3x plus 4, how do we know these equations are linear? Well, equations are linear when they look like this, like the y equals 3x plus 4. And we do have our general form. Remember, our y equals mx plus b. If it's in that general form, it will be linear. Let me give you an example of something that's not linear. Not linear would be like y equals x squared. So y equals x squared. Something crazy looking like that. Something that we're not used to. It would be okay to have an equation that was just like y equals 3x. That would be fine. All right, proportional. When we are looking at an equation, equations are proportional if nothing is added or subtracted. Because when nothing's added or subtracted, that means our y-intercept is 0. So if nothing is added or subtracted, it would be like y equals 3x. In this case, our equation over here of y equals 3x plus 4 is not proportional. Excellent. All right, slope. Slope in equations. They're so easy to find, I think. The slope in the equation is the number in front of, correct, x. So if we take our equation, y equals 3x plus 4, the number in front of x, well, that's this right here. It is the 3. So our slope is 3. There we go, a little highlighting on the 3. And lastly, our y-intercept. We find the y-intercept by looking at the equation, and that is the number that is added or subtracted. So again, if we take a look at our equation, y equals 3x plus 4, our number that is added or subtracted is the plus 4. Remember, take that sign in front. We don't want to leave that off. So our y-intercept is plus 4. I should say positive 4. There we go. I had a little craziness with the highlighter. All right, so this is your review notes, your template that you will need to study from and know how to find from tables, from graphs, from equations, when they are linear, when they are proportional, how to find the slope, and how to find the y-intercept. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you did a good job. This is Miss Johnson. Over and out.